back to Desertwood Days. I am Kathy Blaze, and I am excited to be here with Mr. James Ray.
Thanks for having me, Kathy. I appreciate it.
Such a pleasure.
I've been excited to get on here since I saw that you were doing this.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. I've been excited to have you here because it's been such a long time since we've seen each other.
Yes. I was going back through history and trying to think last time we worked together, and
It's
I
been
think
a it's been a while.
it's been a while. Probably a
Yes,
stage production, I think. Was last
yes.
time.
I
Yeah.
think that was a great experience.
It was. Yeah, it wasn't just putting it on, but it was also a nice like charity event. So
Yes,
yeah,
it was,
yeah,
and
for a good cause.
I think during that time, I mean, it was more like a family working together, and it was
Right.
for a good cause, and
Yeah.
all the feel good juices were flowing back then.
Yeah.
So, you know what, James, as a actor in the Arizona film industry, I always saw you as this leading man type. I mean, it just seemed like that was who your character was.
Yeah.
Would that be a true statement?
Well,
Did you see how
I
he
think
just cleared his throat and go,
no, I think I think we as an actor, I think we all see ourselves as a leading man or leading woman. Um, but it depends on how the audience sees you.
Yeah,
And while I love leading roles, of course, who doesn't? Um, I've had some good supporting roles and co-leads, of course.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just like life, every role
Well,
kind of
see,
makes you who you are
James
today.
is being a little humble here right now. And when I always saw him as the leading man, the ladies' man, I mean, he's our Tom Cruise, our Will Smith. I mean, that's what I mean when I say our leading man here in Arizona. That is
Okay.
the character that I've always seen you as.
Well, I'm going to say thank you for that. Let's get the word out, all right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
No,
yes.
I don't know. When I moved here back in '06, I had visions of grandeur. Of course, the market was different back then.
Yes.
Here in Arizona, you had tax incentives, everything else. It was very. You had to really, I mean, if you want to get out and work, you had to really put yourself out there. So I tried to do that a lot, and I really built a network of some good
Mm-hmm.
people, and um, and I guess I did a good enough job for them last time that they were
Yeah.
happy with it, and they always brought me back on set.
Right.
Kind of helped me build my resume, and
And but you know what? What you just said, as an actor, that's what we have to do.
right,
I mean, you have people saying, you know what, Arizona should be the next Hollywood, or Arizona should be this way.
yeah,
But if Arizona is going to be that way, then you have to act that way also. You have to go along with it also,
very true.
which
Yeah,
means things aren't going to be handed to you. You have to work hard. If you want to be that leading man or that leading woman, you have to work hard at getting those roles.
exactly. Yeah,
And
I
as
agree.
you said, you did a lot of networking, you put yourself out there. And where did you move here from?
Directly from Alaska, from
Oh,
Anchorage,
okay.
Alaska. Yeah,
Okay.
that was my last active duty base when I was Air Force.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, thank you for your service.
well, thank you.
We'd
I
love to
appreciate that.
say one of our special gentlemen on our crew, he's also a serviceman. So we like to
Nice,
make sure we're thanking
nice.
everyone for their service.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
What was it like in Alaska? Were you performing and acting in Alaska?
Yeah, that's actually where I started. And so I started back in '03.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where really I started because I got my daughter into it.
Oh, okay.
And was just trying out new things. So got into stage production, started off with just one of those things when I saw what she was doing. I thought, you know what? I've always had an interest in that. So I don't know, maybe I'll try it. And thankfully enough, the casting director and the company owner for a theater company up in
Hmm.
Anchorage decided to give me a shot.
Oh,
And so my first production was a Christmas Christmas Carol,
Oh.
and my first role was didn't even have any lines. Christmas Future, you know. I think they wanted to go with me because I was my military experience, and I knew how to stay still and not move when things get itchy and everything else, you know.
Right.
And so it's kind of
Look,
how it
this
all
fuzzy
started.
suit is making me itchy.
Yeah. And it was a hot, heavy drape that I was wearing.
Oh.
That was my first run doing stage, and
But you know,
really
those
got
are
bit then.
but those are the hard parts of performing, is being able to stay in character, stay in your role,
Right.
and being still at sometimes.
Right. Yeah. And it's you know, and I don't know. I worked under a very seasoned, retired San Francisco actor who was living up there at the time, and he really kind of took me under his wing and really
Oh.
kind of showed me the ropes. I learned a lot from him. Don Love was his name, or
okay.
is his name. He's still with us. Thank goodness. But awesome performer. He was Scrooge in the production,
Okay.
and
So you
I really
started
learned a
off
lot.
in theater.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And I
And-
started doing film workshops,
Okay.
and then in 05 I retired from the Air Force, and then decided I needed to move down here to pursue film.
Do- Starting off in theater, then moving into film, do you think that's a good avenue for actors to start off, get that experience, that initial experience in theater?
Uh,
Do you think does it matter?
I think it's good, but it always comes down to the person too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked with theater actors that could not transition to
Yeah.
film.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
hard. Yeah.
you've been there.
Yeah,
And I've worked with film actors who could not do stage.
right.
So it really kind of comes down to the individual. But I really like, I think it's good.
Oh,
You know, stage keeps you sharp.
it sure
'Cause
does.
When lines get
Especially
dropped
with
and
the
you have
the memorization.
to, right.
I did a stage play once, and it was about historical events, and the hardest part was remembering dates and
Mhm.
times.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
but
can't get those wrong.
oh no, because there's someone in that front row that happened in 1882, not 1885.
Right. So you always do your fact check on the script
Yes.
before you ever do it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the hardest part. But even if you did it one way, you can go back the next night and maybe tweak it and do it a different way.
Right.
But with film, it's like that. It's different.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And we can be as big as we want
Right.
in theater.
Right. And I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of theater trained actors is that where they can't do that transition because
Yeah.
things are framed so small
Right.
that the
Right.
slightest movement. But that's what I've always appreciated about film, and I knew that one of the biggest critiques I always got with stage when I started was project.
Yes.
Get your voice out there.
Yes.
And as a film actor, you don't really do that
Yes.
unless it's a action
Yeah, that
scene
was
or something.
that was one of my biggest critiques. Also, is getting my voice out there. I mean, I want to hear you to that wall
Right.
back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was always because I tend to talk a little softer at times, so I had to remember to project.
Yeah.
I can tell you, my first theater. Do you remember that old movie, A Rebel Without a Cause? A Rebel with a Cause.
Yeah.
James Dean.
Yeah.
That was my first stage play. I played the school
Really?
teacher. Yes.
Wow.
That was a fun play too. That
That's
was
nice.
a fun play. Yes.
Well, my first when I moved here, just one of it was because it was my first lead in a stage production.
Mhm.
Was Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh,
I played
okay.
Stanley, and that Playhouse is no longer open. So many of them shut down
Mhm.
during the crisis back in 08. And
And that was the thing with being small versus being large,
Mhm.
theater versus film, is that when COVID hit,
Yeah.
those places were shut down. At least with film, productions were able to continue with Zoom. They had
Yeah.
Zoom there because we knew how to still be in that small box.
Right.
And you still, with all the safety protocols, they were still able to use that in film productions.
Right.
But with theater, it was so much different.
Yeah.
So they really took a hard hit.
Yeah, because you can't have the audience, you couldn't
Yes.
have people interacting, getting close.
Yeah.
This isn't 6 feet, so
Right,
yeah.
right. So, James, you've been doing this for quite a long time, and even in Arizona, what are some of the, give me a positive change that you've seen in the industry since you've been here?
Positive change.
Yes, that's advanced the industry.
Okay. Um, I think a lot of people have, um, again, back, yeah, when I started here, because we did have the incentives, we had a lot of film work, so a
Uh-huh.
lot of people were putting things, or they were getting out there and auditioning and actually doing some independent work and just not putting out good quality. Um, and just things have gotten better in that aspect.
Mhm.
I think when they realize that, oh, now the tax incentive's gone, oh, now the large production houses are not coming here anymore.
Right.
Um,
So you
so
think,
what are we really going to do to stand out? We have
Right.
to improve our game.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people took that to heart. People who weren't getting the auditions, weren't getting the castings, I think that they kind of bowed out.
Mm.
It just, the quality of everything.
The quality improved.
And yeah, and you kind of see that when you look at other other locations where they have kind of really grabbed hold of the acting reins, the production reins, and really
Right.
put out good quality.
Yeah.
So, but I have seen that since I've been here, and I saw it. I don't know if you ever did any of the like 48-hour challenges,
Yes,
72-hour,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is a great place, as an
Yeah.
actor to cut your teeth and get in and build your network. But
Right. And you know what? I just want to expound on that. I recall speaking with one of our film critics that was here on one of our episodes, and that was exactly one of the things that he had mentioned is that he had gotten out of that business of being a film critic because he was seeing such a bad quality of work out there. It's just like, why continue if you're not going to see anything worth critiquing?
right,
And I understand that. But now that things have gotten a little better, people are picking up and going, well, you know what? I better put some better quality work out here.
right, right.
And one, would you say that we have now, we have a lot more, it seems like we have a lot more upcoming production companies also. We have bigger studios coming and doing different things. So that may be feeding onto that as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping that momentum keeps building, and hopefully, if we get the governor involved and we can get the tax incentives back, then we can
That
bring
would be-
everything across the
That
border.
would be fantastic.
and,
I mean, because there's no need to pass right past Arizona, a huge state
Right.
that they used to come here and make films. I mean, I still just don't fathom the reason behind that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, if we can bring stuff like the in a big, huge NFL teams here for their
Mhm.
games and other things like that, why would we want to do something like that
Yeah.
for the film industry? I just don't get that.
Oh, I mean, I remember going to.
Yes, I said it. I don't get it.
There used to be one of the first, well, the first big production I was on, Universal Pictures, was, well, actually, it was before that. It was a series, short-lived, only lasted, I think, a couple seasons. They kind of squeezed the second season into back-to-back episodes. It only ran for a few weeks. And it was Hidden Palms.
Oh, okay.
And it was a CW network
okay.
channel.
And that was done here?
It was done here. They shot all over the valley.
Oh, okay.
Had some big, sorry, I can't remember the lead cast, but yeah, some big players in it. And so I did background extra work,
Okay.
as a
Yeah.
starting actor. But whenever that went away, and then we had Kids in America, which was originally titled something else like Out All Night or Stay Out, something like that. It's a Topher Grace film.
Right.
And I was in that. And so we had those back to backs. I think the last really big one we had, besides like Transformers coming through and
Mhm.
kind of picking up scenes out on the
Was
open
was
road.
that the Jamie Foxx one? Because I heard a lot of people mention that one. Kingdom Come,
Oh,
Kingdom, or
Kingdom, yeah, yeah.
yes, that's
That
the
was
one
back, but that
that
was
was
like way back
that
in
was
like
way back. Okay,
7 or 8.
okay.
Yeah,
See, I didn't know there was more that came after that.
yeah. I think the last big one I remember was a Will Ferrell movie, Everything Must Go.
Okay,
And they shot a lot of that
I
in
do remember that
Chandler, I
one.
believe. Yeah.
But
Um,
we've had those things, and we haven't had much of that in so many years.
oh yeah. No, it's all kind of really dropped to the independent market. Again,
Right.
except for those big productions coming through and just
Which,
picking up a few scenes here and there, but not really using a lot of local cast.
which is why we've seen some of the quality that we've seen, because
Hmm.
people not really caring because they're not being paid the way they should, or they're not making the money the way they should.
Yeah.
So the quality isn't the way it should be. But I must say that there are some productions, even though those things aren't there,
Mhm.
they still do their best to make great
Oh,
quality film.
absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and as far as the actors and everyone else also.
Well, and that's what I see as far as like those the
The-
little film challenges and everything else.
Yes.
The quality that's coming out in those, and some of that is by, I mean, you can do with your phone now. You know, some of the
Right.
camera quality, and so some of those little individual projects, it's just crazy what they're doing with it.
You know what? I remember, if you don't mind talking about it, one of your films that you worked on, Last Responders.
Okay.
I always thought that was that was just amazing. Just what that director was, her mindset around that whole film. I mean,
Yeah.
just telling the story about about the last responders. I just really thought that was just amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in that?
Yeah. Drea Magwood actually was the writer director on that, which awesome lady. Um, my role was, well, again, the lead, but it really dealt with suicide
Mm.
and and overcoming that and trying to get past that and really start into a new relationship and have that trust and everything else back. Um, so it was a role that I could really kind of sink into,
Hmm.
and um, I know we've all kind of had someone or known someone who's gone through that,
Right.
and I don't know. Anyway, but it was a great role. Theodore was my character, and I the Last Responders. I mean, if anyone hadn't seen the film, it's about the people that go out instead of being a first responder. You're the ones that go out and
And
collect the bodies and
oh,
do
okay.
the scene, collect all the evidence, what you need to really help the um, I want to say mortuary, but not mortuary.
I know.
You know what I'm talking about, the
Yes.
one that comes and picks them up and you take them. And so really investigating the body and what was the actual cause of death, not
Mhm.
necessarily just the scene and who did it.
The corners.
Thank you.
Yes.
Coroner, yeah. So more the forensic side of it.
Mm.
And but I was going through some challenges because my love interest in that had done that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I had a new working relationship that started budding into something else a little more intimate.
So how
And
did did anyone have any experience with this? How did you pull to bring out your character?
um, I did a little self therapy with it. And that's one of the things I love about roles that I've accepted is that there's a lot of things that I can attach in personal history.
Right.
And I've had some incidents in my past where I've had individuals do that,
Mm.
take that action. And so I was able to go back and kind of pull into some of that maybe I hadn't quite dealt with
Right.
completely
Right.
and apply that to my character
Okay.
just to really fill heartfelt loss,
Mhm.
you know. But yeah, as with all acting, I mean, it's drawing on experiences
Right.
and or what perceived experience if you hadn't gone through
Sure,
it yet.
sure.
But
And you know what? I always tell this story. I used to always say, "Oh, I can't cry. I can't cry. I don't cry. I'm no big baby."
yeah,
Until I had to cry on the scene.
right.
And as you stated, I pulled from areas that, I mean, I think it was a time where I was after I had lost my brother.
Mm.
So I was able to pull from my feelings and emotions from that to be able to bring that out. And ever since then, I think once you've done it, you can do it.
Right, right. I agree.
So,
Yeah.
James, do you have any new projects coming up?
I have a few in works right now. It's here lately. It's been working on industrials and
Oh,
commercials,
okay.
which haven't been released yet. So they're still in post. We'll see when those come out.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I have a couple screenplays that I've been reading,
Oh,
and I'm kind of on the fence. You know, I'm
Hmm.
still doing my homework on whether I'm going to accept them or not.
Right.
But I don't have anything coming out
No.
right now. The last one I had was Spiked, which we
Right.
filmed down in Tucson. Great film. Aidan Quinn was the lead character in that. We had a lot of people from California, but we had a lot of local Arizona talent
That's
in that
great
as
to
well.
hear. So, where can our audience find you?
Now you can find me on, I guess the best place would be IMDb.
Okay.
And it kind of has everything out there. It's very, well, you know, I guess you can get a hold of my agent if you want to do that. If
All on
anyone's looking.
IMDb.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you, Kathy. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I've been excited to be part of this production since I saw
Awesome. And I look forward to see what's for James Ray in 2022.
it. Me too.
Yes. And thank you for joining us today. And we will catch you next time on Desertwood Days.